Hi, I'm Peter Scott, and welcome to Human Cusp. Simply put, Human Cusp is the notion that humanity faces an existential threat arising from the exponential growth of technology. Now, 10 years ago, I would have thought that existential threat had something to do with Sartre, but it actually means literally what it says, a threat to our existence, of the whole human race. And when I realized what we are facing, I knew I had to do something about it. I have children, young children, 2 daughters, aged 3 and 7, and I'm concerned about their future. And so I had to do something. And what I'm trying to do is raise awareness of this issue by explaining it to a broad audience, bringing it to as many people as possible and building some community around that for discussion and eventually action. And I've been doing that since 2013 when I started speaking to small groups about it. But when I wanted to bring it to the internet, a larger audience, I had trouble figuring out how to unpack a lot of complex thoughts in the right order. So in order to organize my thinking around that, I decided that I was going to write it down. And I laid out a book. And it turned out so well that I published it. It came out in February of 2017, and it turned out pretty well, he said modestly. It's called Crisis of Control: How Artificial Superintelligences May Destroy or Save the Human Race. And you can get it in Kindle and paperback from Amazon, and there should be a link to that on your screen. I'm going to be adding more books to make a series in the future. Now, I want you to read it because I can't cram all its arguments into one video or 10 videos, although that's not going to stop me from trying. So what is this existential threat? Well, there are two. They're both effects of technological advance. And the first one is that it brings within closer and closer reach of average people the ability to create weapons of mass destruction on a scale that might be more appropriate to call it weapons of global destruction. In particular, bioterrorism. It's getting easier all the time to make lethal viruses. You can buy a used DNA synthesizer off eBay for under $1,000. The genomic blueprint for Ebola is freely downloadable, and CRISPR makes it possible to edit a genome to make it even more dangerous. Now, I'm glossing over some things that make this harder than that sounds at the moment, but the point is it's getting easier all the time. And the question to ask ourselves is, how safe will we be in a world where anyone can make in their garage something that can kill millions of people? We have to learn how to protect ourselves from that possibility or evolve into a race where that threat doesn't exist. Now, the second threat is that exponential advances in computer technology make artificial intelligence more and more capable. Now, by and large, that's a good thing. It gives us, for instance, self-driving cars to radically reduce the number of deaths and injuries from automobile accidents. And there are also, however, some negative effects. In the short term, of course, we have large-scale unemployment. This is not in debate. 2 studies done recently both predicted more or less the same number. 47% of all job functions can be automated in the next 10 to 20 years. So we must assume that they will be automated. Now that's job functions, not jobs. The proportion of any individual job that can be automated was measured at somewhere from 1% to 99%. But overall, we're looking at a 47% threat there. But in the long term, it's inevitable that AI will become far more intelligent than humans once we program it to improve its ability to learn. That will also be an exponentially improving, growing function that has no limit. The human brain can't evolve anymore. It's as efficient as it can be, and this is how much space it's got to grow in, but that's not a limit for AI. And something that becomes that intelligent, that has the power through the world's digital infrastructure to wipe us out, might decide to do so. As much as this sounds like science fiction, and I really like science fiction, but this is closer than that. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and Stephen Hawking have all warned us about it. And when might that happen? Nobody knows. But it could be soon on the scale of these things, because science fiction would have us believe that it was 500 years in the future. It would be much, much closer than that. No matter how far away it is, though, we need to do something about it now because of the difficulty of preparing ourselves for that. And the message of Human Cusp is that we need those super intelligent AIs to help the human race learn how to protect itself from the possibility of being wiped out by some lone actor with a DNA lab. So let's figure out how to make those AIs ethical, compassionate, and spiritual. Now, that's a tall order, considering that it's debatable how far we've progressed in doing that for the human race. Well, we need to bring together the software development community with the human development community. These are groups that, by and large, don't intersect very much. But I have experience in both of them, and there's much, much more to this. I can come and speak to your groups or conferences about it. Please read the book, visit the website, become part of the community. Help us figure out how we can solve this. I'm Peter Scott, and this is the Human Cusp.